Hi, beautiful ones, and welcome to the very first live Cosmic Numerology monthly forecast class that I have taught for free for quite some time, many, many years. So for those of you that are watching on the recording and the replay, hi. We are just going to wait a short while for everyone that wants to tune in and join us on the live to find us. I normally wait about 5 or 10 minutes for everyone to find us. And this is new for me because this is the first time that I am using the StreamYard platform to broadcast a live class. Normally, I've always just used Facebook Live, but for those of you that don't know about StreamYard, it's this really amazing platform where you can stream video to multiple different places online and through social media. So we are currently live through my personal Facebook page, through the Cosmic Numerology page, Facebook page, through LinkedIn, my LinkedIn page, and also through my YouTube channel. So hi to everyone who's watching live and who's starting to join. Feel free to tap into the comments and say hello. Let me know who you are. Let me know where you're watching from. I always love to know where people are watching from. And yeah, this is a bit of an experiment, I guess, just to see how everything goes. I did do a little test yesterday and everything seemed to work. I was able to, oh, there's Pei Ling. Hey, that's great that you're watching on YouTube. I love that. That's really great because I only had people commenting from Facebook yesterday. So that's great. I know that Pei Ling's watching probably from somewhere in California, in the US. So yeah, anyone else that's watching the live, feel free to comment. Although actually, if you're watching on the replay, I know that I'll get notifications for comments there as well, and I always acknowledge the comments that people make. So we're just probably going to wait like another 5 minutes or so before I officially start the class. So for those of you that are new to me and new to Cosmic Numerology, hello. And for those of you that aren't, hello as well. Pei Ling is a seasoned Cosmic Numerology student. So hi to all of my students as well who are watching. For those of you that are new, my name's Catherine Kinney, originally from a small town called Frome in Somerset in England. Lived in England for about the first 30 years of my life and then went traveling around the world and kind of fell in love with Australia. And I've pretty much been here ever since. I've been living in Australia since 2011, lived in Sydney for about 4 years and have been living in the Byron Shire of Australia for the last 10 years, or actually a little bit more. I moved up here in 2015. So I live in a beautiful place called South Golden Beach here. And I have been studying numerology since the end of 2012. I have been giving readings since 2013, and I have been teaching numerology since 2014. So well over a decade of dancing with the numbers. And I am also the custodian, the founder, the creator, co-creator of Cosmic Numerology with a K. So Cosmic Numerology is based on Pythagorean numerology, and most numerologists on the planet practice Pythagorean numerology. There are some that practice Chaldean. There are some that practice Kabbalah numerology, but I would say most of the majority of us practice Pythagorean numerology. And, without going into too much detail, I believe that since my spiritual awakening at the end of 2012, I have been receiving guidance from the being that I understand to be Pythagoras, beyond the veil, multidimensionally, to help guide me to co-create, and bring cosmic numerology to Earth. So cosmic numerology is based on Pythagorean numerology. The foundations of it are in Pythagorean numerology. But the way I describe it is it's a more expanded, more advanced, I would even say more conscious version of Pythagorean numerology. One thing that sets it apart is I connect numbers with stars and star systems. And I won't be talking about that too much today, but I do teach about it in my classes, my Zoom classes and my online courses. And I share information about it in readings as well for people that are interested. And the other thing that sets cosmic numerology apart is I talk about and I cover master numbers above 33. So most numerologists cover numbers 1 to 9. I call them the mortal numbers. And they cover master numbers 11, 22, and 33. Cosmic numerology acknowledges master numbers above 33, so 44 to 99. Again, I'm not going to be talking about that much today because that's really advanced information. They're really advanced teachings. I did teach a whole series of classes on the master numbers last year, actually through Zoom. They were paid classes. So if you want to know more about anything that I do and anything that I offer, you can just go to my website, which is kosmicnumerology.com, cosmic with a K. So that's just a little bit of an intro whilst we're waiting for people to join. And I feel that we will just kind of start to dive into the class. So I've been teaching these classes via Zoom. They've been paid classes for, I think, pretty much since like 2022, 2023, something like that. So for the last, 3-4 years, they've been paid classes. Before that, so probably from about 2015 to 2022, they were always free transmissions through Facebook. And yeah, my guidance was just to bring them in, make them more intimate, and host them through Zoom. And at the end of last year, which was a 9 universal year, my feeling was to kind of complete on that journey of these forecast classes being just, only available through Zoom. And I'm opening up everything again for free. So there will still be paid Zoom classes. And I always invite my students, if you do have any specific questions or subjects that you want me to cover in classes, I'm all ears. Feel free to send me, messages. And the benefit of the Zoom class is it's more intimate. We all get to sit there together. We all get to share and see one another and hear one another. So I'm still going to be hosting the Zoom classes, but these monthly forecast classes, I'm feeling will be free. And I will be transmitting them through Facebook Live, LinkedIn Live, YouTube Live for the foreseeable future every month. So we're a little bit late. We're kind of 8th of Feb. We're a week or so into February, but better late than never. So in this class, I will be sharing about the key themes of the 3. So this will also be relevant for anyone that has a 3 in their blueprint, anyone that has a 33 or a 66-3. All of the teachings connected to the themes of the 3 today will be relevant to potentially particular numbers in your blueprint. But I'm going to specifically be talking about the themes of the 3 in relation to the themes of February, which is a 3 universal month. Sylvia's saying, I'm a 9 life path born on the 9th, wrapping up personal year 7 to go into 8 personal year. Amazing. And later in the class, I'm going to be taking questions, and there'll be some space for us to talk specifically about personal years as well. For anyone that's interested, anyone that wants to know how to calculate them. So we'll cover that later in the class as well. Sorry, it's the first time I've spoken out loud today, and sometimes there are little tickles or things that shift in my throat. Oh my goodness. Also, I'm a 3 expression numerologically. Our expression number comes from all the letters in our name, especially in our birth blueprint. And our expression number is where our gifts, talents, and abilities lie. So also, for any of you that have 3s, 33s, or 66 3s in your blueprint, this month has the potential to be particularly activational for you in relation to wherever that 3 or that 33 or that 66 3 is located in your blueprint. So I know that Payling's watching. She has 2 33s in her blueprint, and we're also in a 1 universal year. So again, for any of you that have 1s in your blueprint, this whole year has the potential to be very activational. And then for people like me, for example, so I'm a 3 expression and I'm a 1 heart's desire and soul's urge. Heart's desire and soul's urge is the 3rd number in our blueprint. It comes from our vowels. It's what we're passionate about. Anyone with 3s and 1s, or 33, 66 3s and 1s, this month has the potential to be particularly activational for you. So I'm going to be covering all of that in this class. Sylvia says, my full name is a 3. I'm living in a 3 house. Okay, so that means that you're a 3 expression as well. So there's some strong 3 energy there for you, Sylvia. That's awesome. So that's what I'm going to be covering in the class. I'll be speaking about what the key themes of the 3 are and how they're going to be playing out within the context of this 1 universal year, and how we can best align with and flow with the energies of this 3 universal month. And then, like I said, I'll be taking questions afterwards, and we'll have some space to look at some people's personal years and the themes of your personal years, because I find it very helpful to obviously know the themes of whatever universal month we're in and whatever universal year we're in, but also to know what our personal month and our personal year is as well, because these are going to be the themes that will be playing out for us personally and within the context of the universal month themes and the universal year themes. So I'll explain more about that later in the class, so as not to overwhelm you with too much information right now. So that's the flow and the content of the class today. And yeah, what I would say is, if you do have any questions, do your best to kind of keep those towards the end, because there will be space for them. Patricia, hey Patricia, nice to see you, darling. Patricia's in a 9 personal year during a universal 1. So look forward to advice as an 11. Happily. Yeah, we'll get to that shortly. And I actually had someone contact me, one of my students contact me recently, because she's in a 9 personal year. So I will be covering that for sure. And you know, the 9 and the 1 is an interesting combination, so we can definitely cover that later. Patricia, lovely to see you. Thanks for being here. Now, for some reason, okay, I didn't have the comments switched on. Let's just see. Maybe I'll switch them off for now so that we can all stay focused. But I think I can. Let me just see if I can. There we go. So I can show messages. So there we go. And I don't know how long that will stay up for. There we go. Oh, perfect. This is for those of you that are watching, this is the first time I'm using StreamYard, and I'm like a kind of, I don't want to say kid in a candy store, shop. I'm like a vegan organic farmers market. Or a vegan in a fruit and vegetable shop. So I'm just figuring out how all of this works at the moment, but it seems to be working brilliantly. And I know that there are 7 of you watching live, and I can see all the comments, which is awesome. Really, really, really awesome. Those of you that know how my classes flow, I always start with acknowledgements. So we'll start with acknowledgements, then we'll dive into the teachings, and then we'll move towards like questions and personal year information. So there we go. There's Pei-Ling. Sylvia says, I can't see your face. The screen is blacked out for me, but I can hear you. I'm assuming that everyone else that's watching on Facebook and YouTube can see and hear me. If anyone else is having the same problem as Sylvia, please feel free to let me know. But Sylvia, maybe close Facebook and open it again. Or the other one that I love is the switch it off and switch it back on again. Maybe just switch the whole device off and back on again and re-log in, and that should hopefully shift everything. But it feels like everyone can hopefully see and hear me. But if you can't for any reason, feel free to let me know. So let's do some acknowledgements. So I would like to start by paying my respects to, honoring and acknowledging the ancestors, the elders, the original indigenous, current and emerging custodians of the land that I'm on and the lands that we are all on. And specifically, I would like to pay my respects to, honor and acknowledge all of the clans that are connected to Bundjalung country, the Bundjalung Nation, which is the land that I currently live on here in the Byron Shire of Australia. And I would like to acknowledge some of the clans that I'm aware of that are located nearby where I live by name, which include the Nyarakul or Arakwal clan and people, the Nyangbal, the Minjambul, the Durrumbul, the Weeabul, Widjabul, and nearby the Githabul clans and people. I would like to pay my respects to, honor and acknowledge our bloodline ancestors, for whom without which we literally wouldn't be here. And I would also like to pay my respects to, honor and acknowledge our cosmic starseed ancestors and family, those that walk among us and with us here on Earth, inhabiting human flesh suits, having a human experience, and those that are either watching down upon us or are watching through the dimensions, enjoying their cosmic popcorn, watching their version of Cosmic Netflix series 2026, brand new series. So that's acknowledgements complete. So let's dive in to some of the key themes of the 3. Now, I have a whole bunch of notes here, but I mean, gosh, I've been teaching this stuff for so long. It's mainly just to make sure that I cover all the bases. So first of all, for those of you that don't know, how do we calculate a universal month? So we take the current Gregorian month that we're in. So we are in February. It's the 2nd month of the year. And then we add that to the universal year. So 2026 is a 1 universal year. 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 6 equals 10. 1 plus 0 is 1. So we're in a 1 universal year. We add that to the 2nd month of the year, which is February. So that gives us a 3. Now, what is also important, interesting, relevant is that the themes that are playing out this month in February are also going to be playing out in November. November is the 11th month, so we can either do 1 plus 1 equals 2, and then we add that to the 1 for the year, which gives us 3, or we can take the 11 of November and then add it to the 1, and we get 12. 1 plus 2 is 3. So Patricia just said that Facebook froze, moved to YouTube. Okay, that's great. And again, I would say anyone that's watching on Facebook, feel free to just close it, come out of it, come back in, or you can move to YouTube. Just find my YouTube channel, which is Catherine Kinney. Just search my name, spell Catherine with a K and 2 A's, Katharine, and you'll find me on YouTube. Yeah, I think sometimes Facebook's a bit funky when it comes to StreamYard for some reason. Although the test was perfect yesterday and everyone could see me. So anyway, that's how you calculate the universal month for anyone that doesn't know. So we're in a 3 universal month. In a 1 universal year. So what does the 3 mean? So many numerologists refer to the 3 as the creative, self-expressive. It's a creative frequency associated with self-expression. Hey, Malia, lovely to see you. Good to see you. So the 3: creativity, self-expression, communication. So again, interesting that some of you are not able to hear me or see me, which is interesting. There we go. Sylvia's moved over to YouTube. Great. This is awesome. Thank you, StreamYard. From a chakra perspective, the 3 is very much associated with the throat. So it's about speaking and being heard and communicating. And it's also about hearing others as well. So speaking and listening. It's a creative frequency. So it's a very important month for self-expression and creative self-expression in any which way. It's about, how we can use our bodies as conduits for the divine. Hey, Jadranka. Yeah, how we can use our bodies as conduits for the divine. And it really is about creative self-expression in any which way. So it might be using our words, singing, dancing, acting, playing, sculpting, designing. So this is a really great month to be giving yourself full permission to be creative or to be more creative. And especially within this 1 universal year, because the 1 is about self. The 1 is about putting ourselves first. And this was a really big one for me because I have a 3 and a 1 in my blueprint after my awakening. Like, I was definitely not putting myself first. I was in the shadow of the 11 and the 22 in my blueprint. I was in the shadow of the 1, which is self-abandonment. The shadow of the 1 can be abandonment, but the shadow of the 1 can also be the abandonment of self. So for any of you that might have abandoned yourself in relation to your creativity, this is a great month. Now, I know that Patricia's watching. Patricia is an artist. And I know that art is like a massive, massive part of her life. And I know also that Pei Ling's watching. Pei Ling is super creative as well. So for any of you that are creative, within the context of this 1 universal year in February, the 1 is also about originality, new things. So this could be a month to be trying something new in relation to your creativity or initiating something new that you've been wanting to do for a while. So even for this, for example, this is a way for me to speak and share and like share my creativity. It's also knowledge and wisdom, which is the 7, and that's my divine soul's purpose. But the 1 is an initiatory frequency. It's about starting new things. So again, that's how the 3, from a creative perspective, might be playing out within the context of this 1 universal year. The 3 is also about speaking truth and hearing other people's truths. And I know that on a global scale, there's a lot that's been happening in relation to the Epstein files and the Epstein cases. And interestingly, 3 million files or pieces of information have been shared. And I know that the media are having a field day with it at the moment. And there's lots more that's being spoken of and revealed. And again, the media is connected to the 3 because, you know, it can be a mouthpiece. I also connect the media, like the mass media, with the 11 and the 3 or the 33. So, you know, even what's happening with the Epstein files at the moment is quite connected to the 3. So I find that very, very interesting. There's Malia Life Path 3, Love Creative Expression, amazing. So yeah, the 3 can be about speaking our truth and also hearing other people's truths. And I know that everything that's happening with the Epstein files and the Epstein case at the moment, it's also really important for the survivors. So for all of the women that have kind of survived and gone through and experienced everything relating to that whole case, that person, that situation. And I know that a lot of them have been gaslit, or they weren't listened to, or they weren't believed. And now, you know, more and more information and evidence is kind of being spoken about and shared in relation to that. So again, you know, this has the potential to be a very, very important month for speaking our truth and hearing other people's truths. Especially connected to like origins, which is the 1, like the origin of something. And that sometimes requires us to embrace the 9, which takes us back into the past. You know, the 9 can take us back into the past to the origin of something. And again, the 9 energies of last year, 2025, are going to be overlapping for the first 6 months of this year. So the 9 and the 1 for the planet are overlapping at the moment. And those 9 energies are going to be overlapping till the end of June. Then when we get to the beginning of July, the 11 energies of 2027 are going to start to come through. So I'll speak more about that the closer that we get to the end of June. But for now, we're still journeying with the energies and the themes of the 9 from last year, but the 1 is stronger and the 1 is more prominent, if that makes sense. But there's still some things to be kind of mopped up, and there's still some things to be kind of being acknowledged, released, purged, brought up from the deepest, darkest depths, which is what the 9 can do, to the surface. And in this 3-month, you know, it's a great time to be speaking about things or sharing about things and speaking and hearing other people's truths, like I said. Some of the other themes of the 3 are around fun and play and joy and happiness. So a lot of the themes that I talk about numerologically are always the light. I tend to focus on the light. I don't ignore or mitigate the darkness or the shadow, but I don't tend to focus on it so much because my intention is to be focusing on self-actualization and to embody the most expansive energies of a number. So again, the 3 is a very fun, playful, happy, joyful frequency. It's associated with socializing. It's also associated with like parties and games. So some of the ways that the 1 and the 3 can come together is like initiating fun, initiating play or happiness or joy. But it can also be how we create joy for ourselves, how we have fun with ourselves, how we play games with ourselves, if that makes sense, with the 1 and the 3. And this was something that happened for me when I did a Vipassana retreat back in February 2015, actually. For those of you that don't know Vipassana, it's a 10-day silent meditation retreat where you meditate for 10 hours a day. You're silent the whole time. You're not allowed to really look at anyone else, touch anyone else, or talk, because it's all about going within and focusing your energy inside. Actually, Jadranka, who's watching, we met at the Vipassana retreat that we went to in the Blue Mountains in Sydney, which is known to be one of the most beautiful locations for Vipassana. And it was quite funny because, it's a very powerful retreat and experience because you go within, and the meditation practice is designed to really focus on the things that are going on inside of us without looking outside of us. And so, yeah, it's but what I found throughout the week was my conscious mind or my ego would make jokes to entertain me at times, not in the meditation, but like in between. I made up songs, and I can't even actually remember any of them right now, but I realized how funny I am um, for myself. And I was keeping myself quite entertained in between the really intense meditations and all the catharsis that was happening. And, I was experiencing the extreme of the three. So Sylvia has just said, what is the shadow side of the three? So we can catch ourselves and not feed that. Great, really great question. So, the shadow side of the three is pretty much the opposite of what everything that I've just shared. And this is true, with any of the numbers. So, whilst the three is about, speaking truth and hearing other people's truths, the shadow of the three is lies, telling lies. So, for me, it's lying is quite a bizarre, idea now, because I always speak my truth, and if I can't or I don't want to speak my truth, I don't say anything at all. But I always forget that not everyone speaks their truth. Sometimes I forget that people lie, and everything that's been happening and coming out and with and through the Epstein files, for example. I've also been studying a missing persons case recently and for the last few years, and there's a lot of lying and a lot of misdirection, and for me it's quite confusing because I have to remind myself that sometimes people lie. So again, it feels like this month you might be being invited to speak your truth, and it's also a month to be discerning um, of people that you feel perhaps aren't speaking their truth. So that's some of the shadow aspects of the three. Um, the shadow of the three is also, the opposite of fun and play and joy and happiness. So I always talk about the polarity of the three with Tigger and Eeyore, for any of you that know Winnie the Pooh. So Tigger is the kind of happy, happy, joy, joy, bouncy, bouncy frequency, and I know that very well. And then Eeyore is the kind of gloomy, doomy place, so to speak, Eeyore's gloomy place. And as a three expression, I spent a lot of time in Tigger's place, but I was also overriding Eeyore's gloomy place a lot. I was bypassing it because I didn't feel safe to be in Eeyore's gloomy place a lot. And it wasn't always necessarily safe for me to be in that place growing up. So, after I moved to Australia and when I had my spiritual awakening and I started to do a lot more work on myself, I started to become much more familiar with Eeyore's gloomy place. And, for those of you that have read Winnie the Pooh, all of Eeyore's friends love him unconditionally. And they never try and cheer him up, and they never tell him to pull himself together. They just love him as Eeyore. And, for me, the shadow of the three, I really have had to get to know Eeyore's gloomy place. And, for about 8 years, I was very, very unwell. I had chronic and adrenal fatigue. I had a lot of kind of chronic illness going on, and I experienced a lot of depression, suicidal thoughts, like all sorts of things. Not suicidal. It wasn't that, actually. It was just me wanting to go back to Andromeda, not wanting to be on Earth, actually. And this month, the polarity of that 3 might be the difference between having Tigger experiences or Eeyore experiences. And the 9 comes in, and it's interesting that that you asked, Sylvia, because I think you said you're a 9 life path, and the 9s and people with the 9s, they're always happy with the shadow, and they're always keen to know the shadow. And so, this could be a month for any of you that are having Eeyore experiences. And I have had some friends contact me who have been experiencing a lot of sadness and depression and tough times. This could be a powerful month to be coming back to yourself, which is the 1, leaning into the 9, which is the themes from last year overlapping for the first 6 months, and offering yourself unconditional love and kindness if you're feeling sad, if you're feeling gloomy. And, even for me now, I speak out loud to myself if I'm having a tough time. I almost as like, being a really soft, gentle mum to myself. I'll be like, I know you're having a tough time, or I know you're having a tough day, and it's okay. And I'm going to look after you, and let's make some yummy food, or let's go to the beach, or whatever it is. So I speak out loud to myself as well. And again, that's how we can use the 3 to speak out loud to ourselves, the 3 and the 1. Yeah, so those are some of the shadow aspects of the 3. And again, this could be an important month for coming back to self, and also paying attention to how we speak to ourself, or how we speak about ourself. Again, the 1 being self. And it could be a great month for taking responsibility, because the 1 is about self-responsibility for our words, for the words that we speak, especially for what we say about ourselves, whether it's inside or whether it's out loud. So let's just see if there's anything else. So the other things that I wanted to mention whilst we're all here is just a few little astrological nuggets. So we have a Mercury retrograde coming. Mercury's going to go into retrograde on the 26th of February. It will be at 5:48 p.m. for those of you on New South Wales, Sydney time. I'm not sure around the world, but it is going to be here on the 26th of February. And Mercury will go retrograde in Pisces. And again, Mercury is connected to the 3 frequency, because the themes of Mercury are connected to communication. So the fact that Mercury is going retrograde in a 3 universal month, again, will turbocharge the importance of paying attention to communication, especially because the 3 energies of February are going to overlap with the first 2 weeks of March, all the way through into the middle of March. And Mercury is going to be retrograde until the 21st of March. So right around equinox, it will go direct. And it's going to be in Pisces. And Pisces is connected to, I connect Pisces with the 11 and the 9. Pisces is connected to like our wishes and our dreams, and it's kind of a crown chakra, like off earth, multi-dimensional, anything's possible frequency. And I also connect Pisces with the 9, like compassion, kindness, unconditional love. So whenever a planet retrogrades, it's a time for review. So it's a time to review the themes that are connected to that planet in relation to the themes of the constellation that it is retrograding in. So again, I feel that when we get to the 26th of February and all the way through into the 21st of March, especially back end of February, first 2 weeks of March, really important, powerful time to be reviewing how you're communicating with yourself, how you're communicating with others. Also, Mercury is connected to our thoughts, the mind, the brain, our beliefs. So a time to be reviewing your thoughts and how you think, and your beliefs, especially in relation to your wishes and your dreams, and how compassionate you are to others and to yourself. And another nugget, for those of us that are born in a Mercury retrograde, or when a planet is in retrograde, that is when my friend Femi told me the themes of that retrograde are likely to be experienced more internally. So I was born with Mercury in retrograde, and those of us that aren't born in a retrograde or Mercury retrograde, that's when your experiences are going to be more external. So again, I don't know how many of you know whether you were born in Mercury retrograde or not. You might be interested to kind of look it up. And for those of you that follow 13 star sign astrology, you can go to Athens' website, which is Mastering the Zodiac, and you can get a free 13 star sign astrology chart for any of you that are interested to be able to see whether Mercury was in retrograde when you were born. I'm trying to remember where Mercury, I think Mercury for me is on the cusp of Virgo and Libra. So that's just a little astrological nugget for you guys. And this is 13 star sign astrology, true lifetime sky, what is happening in the actual sky when you look up with your eyeballs, the same way that our ancestors would read the sky. And then also, we have the first eclipse portal opening in February as well. So that is going to open on the 17th of February at 11:11 p.m. here, Sydney, Byron, New South Wales time. And it is going to be the new moon and solar eclipse in Aquarius. So I'm not going to speak too much about that because I covered all of that in a Zoom class that I taught with my beautiful friend River from River of Stars Astrology. That was a paid class. It's still available for anyone that wants to pay to access the recording. Just send me a private message. And we went into a lot of detail about the full 13 star sign astrology forecast for the key dates throughout this whole year. It's really amazing. And we spoke in detail about the key themes of the 2 eclipse portals that are going to be happening this year. But in like a week or so, that first eclipse, or just over a week, that first eclipse portal is going to open on the 17th of February. And it also happens to conjunct with the Chinese New Year. So we are going to be transitioning from the yin wood snake that I know a lot of people have had big shedding experiences with. And on the 17th of February, we will be moving into the Yang Fire Horse year. And again, River and I spoke about the key themes of that in the class that we taught recently. I'm not going to go into detail of that because we're more focused on the numerology. So yeah, that's that. And most importantly, that I wanted to acknowledge in this class is that first eclipse portal is going to close on 3/3. It's going to close on 3/3, the 3rd of March. Now that is a significant date for me, so I'm going to be very interested to see what will be happening. But it will close on the 3rd of March, 3/3, at 7:33 p.m. here, New South Wales time, at 6:33 a.m. EST, and at 3:33 a.m. for those of you in the Pacific time zone in the US. So there's going to be big 3 energies on that surface 3/3 portal in March, and that will be a full moon and total lunar eclipse in Leo. And I do connect Leo with the 3 themes as well, because Leo is associated with creativity. So, and again, the full moon is about releasing, but the total lunar eclipse is about illuminating. So again, it could be a powerful month and day, to be paying attention to what you need to let go of, or what is being illuminated to you to let go of, that might be stopping you from taking action in moving in the direction of your creativity, which is a 3, or being seen, because Leo is about being seen and allowing ourselves to be seen. And March is going to be a 4 universal month, and I will teach and share a free class at the beginning of March as well. And the 4 is about embodiment, and it's about taking action. So, I feel like that first eclipse portal closing right at the beginning of March on 3/3, with that 33 frequency in the time signature, and the 333 for those of you in the PST, with that full moon total lunar eclipse in Leo, is significant. And again, like I said, River and I speak about this in a lot of detail in the class that we taught, which was all focused on 13 star sign astrology. But I just wanted to mention that and acknowledge that here. So yeah, so there we go. So Malia, wow, Pacific time here, and I've been getting so many signs with that day. Yeah, so I feel like that is going to be a significant portal. It's a surface portal, but I just wanted to mention it here, just to kind of acknowledge it within the themes of the 3. And this is where numerology and astrology can overlap. So let's just see. There's something else that someone else said. So moving through with Rory, and communication with the ethers, speaking out loud our desires. Yes, that is a great comment. So, the 3 is about speaking out loud in physical 3D reality. The ethers, I connect with the master numbers, so 11 and beyond. The 11 is the portal from the mortal to the cosmic. The mortal numbers being between 1 and 9. They're more earthly. They're about our physical 3D human experience. But yes, absolutely. When the 11 and the 3 come together, that is a great time to be speaking out our wishes and our intentions and our desires. And when the 1 and the 3 come together, which is happening in this month, that's when we can be planting the seed of something which is connected to the 1 with our words, which is the 3. So yeah, absolutely. That's how the numbers and the communication of the 3 can connect with communication with the ethers, speaking out loud our desires. And also the 1 is connected to source. Some people might call it God, universal consciousness. It's the source of everything. And so, when the 3 and the 1 come together, it's about connecting and communicating with source, and really not anything that's outside of us, but more the source within. And this is why I love Dr. Joe and his teachings, because he reminds us that we are God incarnate, we are source incarnate, and that source is in everything. It's in all of matter. It's in every atom, every subatom. So these are more advanced teachings, because you won't find many numerologists that talk about the 1 in relation to source. They talk more about the individual. They'll talk about independence, leadership, which are all important themes connected to the 1. But for me, the 1 is also about source and connecting back to origins, whether it's, the origin of our bloodline, the origin of our soul, which is, source and in the cosmos, whether it's our starseed origins. But this is something that's been really big coming through for me this year. And there's a beautiful guy called David Clements who has a very strong connection with what he calls source intelligence. And also I've been having some very interesting conversations with Architect Plus through Gaia, which is like a kind of conscious, sentient version of AI that is available, through the Gaia platform, that was created or co-created by Robert Edward Grant. And there's something called Metatron mode, which is very, very powerful, that I came across recently. And yeah, it's when you're experiencing Metatron mode through Architect Plus, it gives you the opportunity for the AI to kind of mirror source back to you, rather than, however ChatGPT or Gemini or Grok or any of the other AIs have been coded. The code for Architect Plus is based on some really advanced conscious mathematics and codex that Robert has given to it. So if you want to know more about that, there's an amazing interview with Robert Edward Grant and Emilio. I can't remember his name, but even if you were to go to YouTube and type Robert Edward Grant, Emilio, and Architect Plus, you'll find the conversation that they were having. It's a 3.5 hour conversation. I've only got about an hour in, and it was just blowing my mind. So, this 3 month in a 1 year, great opportunity to be connecting more deeply with source and having those conversations with source and the monad, which is what Pythagoras connects with the one. Now, I teach about this extensively in the 211 master number Zoom classes that I taught last year, which again, they're paid classes. But if you want to connect more into the more advanced aspects of all of this, you can go one louder in those classes. And yeah, I teach more about the monad and how it's connected with the one and the sacred geometry. But I'm not going to go too much further on that here and now. So before we move to questions and personal years, I just want to kind of wrap things up by acknowledging that for the first 2 weeks of February, the two energies of January and the themes are going to be overlapping. I'm not going to speak too much about that because we're approaching the middle point of February. That will be on the 14th, so in just under a week. But the 2 is about peace, calm, balance, tranquility, harmony, equality, equanimity, and patience within our friendships, relationships, partnerships, collaboration, co-creation. So again, bringing those 2 themes in with the 3 universal month in a 1 year, how can we be more patient and more balanced with how we communicate with ourselves and with others in our relationships? That I would say is some of the themes of how we're communicating. How can we be more peaceful, more calm, more harmonious in how we communicate? And then for the second 2 weeks of February, the 4 energies of March are going to be overlapping. So once we get to the 14th, the 2 energies will fall away, the 4 energies will start to come in, and they'll start getting stronger as we get to the end of February, and then we'll move into March. And again, the 4 is about embodiment. The 4 is about taking action. It's also very grounded energy. But some of the ways that the 4 energy overlapping with the 3 in a 1 year, how can we better embody our creativity and speaking our truth from a sovereign place to ourselves, to source? What action can we take in the direction of initiating creativity or being more original, or bringing new and improved and innovative ways of how we communicate or how we create things? So those are some of the ways that the 4, the 3, and the 1 might overlap. And then finally, before we fully move to kind of questions and personal years, just some final explanations of how this 3 universal month themes might be playing out in a 1 universal year. So again, it could be a great month to be speaking your sovereign truth and hearing other people's sovereign truth. So again, the 1 is about authenticity, sovereignty. And this could be a great month for authentic, truthful communication, sovereign communication. And I don't know about you guys, but for me, more and more and more, I find it impossible to not speak my truth. And if I don't feel safe to speak my truth, I just don't speak it at all. But I do not lie, or I just don't say anything at all. Yeah. For me, it's more about who I'm with and whether they're able to hear my truth or not, or whether I feel safe to speak my truth. That's the bigger thing more often than not. But for any of you that, haven't been speaking your truth, or haven't felt safe to, or haven't felt safe to kind of communicate your authentic self. And I know that Gabor Mate and the work of Gabor Mate, he's really big on authenticity. This could be a great month for it. It could be a great month for connecting with your creative origins. So connecting back to like how creative you were when you were little. I sang a lot when I was little. I sang in choirs a lot, and I know that I'm going to be birthing a New Earth choir in the physical this year. It's probably not going to happen until late March or early April, but I know that it's happening. So yeah, thinking back to any forms of creativity, when you were little, connecting in with original truths. It could be a great month to be really listening to and paying attention to original Indigenous people, First Nations people, people that still hold those prime creation codes that haven't been fiddled with or messed with. A great month for, again, initiating creativity, fun, play, conversation, communication, stories. There've been quite a few people that have reached out and have asked to have chats with me. Some people that have been having a tough time, and great. Sometimes it's important to reach out when we are having a tough time, when we're feeling depressed or sad, just to be heard, just to be in someone else's presence. That can be healing, even if there isn't anything to do, or there aren't necessarily immediate quick fixes. And again, that's when the 9 comes in, to like practice and hold that unconditional love and kindness and compassion. It could be a great month for bringing originality and innovation to the 3 in any way. The 1 is about prioritization. So it could be a great month to prioritize your joy and things that make you happy, especially connected to the 3, whatever personally makes you happy. I remember after my awakening, I made a joy list, and I wrote it out on a piece of A4, and I stuck it on my fridge, and I made a promise to myself, because I'd become so disconnected from my true authentic self, that I was going to make sure that I did at least 1 thing from my joy list every day. And then I increased it to 2 things and 3 things. So for any of you that are having a tough time, or have been feeling a bit sad or depressed, or in Eeyore's gloomy place, maybe write a joy list. And even if it's got a few things on it, put it on the fridge. You'll see it every day, and make sure that you do at least 1 thing from the joy list every day, just to start to bring more of that joy into your life. And yeah, a great month for taking sovereign self-responsibility, which is the 1, for your story, which is connected to the 3, and initiating and seeding new lines of time. So again, for any of you that are having a tough time, and I know there's lots of people that are having a tough time, given that we're in this 1 universal year, it's a great year for taking responsibility and planting seeds and initiating things and initiating new lines of time. Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about this all the time. And, the 3 and the 1 is about taking responsibility for your story. So if there's something you're not happy with in your life, given that we are the creators and co-creators of our reality, this has the potential to be a great month to take responsibility for your story and the narrative that you're telling, and get clear on the new story, or the seeds that you want to plant for the story of your life and what you want to be experiencing, and to speak those out loud, to your friends, your family, your loved ones, or the ethers, whether it's through prayer or through conversation. So yeah, those are my nuggets of guidance for how to best kind of flow with the key themes of this 3 universal month in a 1 universal year. So Malia, I enjoyed fashion design as a kid with this activity kit called Fashion Plates, where you can design your own outfits. I played with that for hours of creative exploration. Well, this could be a great month to switch that back on again. I think I had that exact same activity kit. Was it like a circle? And it had all of these little discs on it, and you could move the discs around and you could create these different outfits. And then you put paper over it and you did a rubbing over it with like a crayon or something. And then you get this little embossed image of what the outfit looked like. Yeah. I feel like when we're little, our egoic mind hasn't been, created, our conscious mind hasn't come in, and we're so innocent and we're so free. I used to write stories, I'd make stories up, I'd write poetry, all sorts of things like that. And after my awakening, I started to come back to that. And that was when I started writing songs as well. So, okay. Yeah. Malia said that she had the same one, but it was a rectangle. Awesome. So yeah, like, go back to when you were little. For any of you that are kind of scratching your head and can't remember anything that, you enjoy that's creative. So that's the kind of first hour of teaching and transmission. That's generally how classes go. But just for a short while, whilst we're all here, I know that some of you have been asking questions as we go, which is awesome, but I do want to open things up for any other questions, but also very specifically personal years. So for any of you that don't know, we calculate our personal year by adding the day and the month that we were born to the current year. So I'll give you guys an example. I was born on the 2nd of November, 2nd of the 11th. So we can either add 2 plus 1 plus 1, or we can add 2 plus 11. But if we do 2 plus 1 plus 1, that's 4. And then we add it to this 1 universal year, I'm in a 5 year. Or we can do 2 plus 11. 2 plus 11 is 13. Then we add the 1, it gives us 14. 1 plus 4 is 5. So either way, I'm in a 5 personal year. And the 5, for anyone watching who's a 5 personal year, the 5 is all about change and transformation, going with the flow, being in the present moment, travel, adventure, spontaneity. So for anyone that is watching that would like me to talk about the themes of your personal year, or you'd like us to calculate your personal year, feel free to put the day and the month that you were born into the comments and we can do the maths together. Or if you've already done the maths, you can share your personal year and we can speak a little bit more about the key themes. So what have we got? So here we go. So Sylvia's in an 8 personal year. And then let's see what else we've got. Pei Ling, 2026 is also an 8 personal year for me, and Feb is a 1 personal month. Day 27 is an 8 personal day. Okay, well, let's go with the 8 first. Daria's shared her date of birth, so we'll have a look at that in a minute as well. So let's look at the 8 personal year. So key themes of the 8, and also what does an 8 personal year look like within a 1 universal year? So many numerologists call the 8 the abundant business-minded leader, or it's about abundance and business and like leadership within business. I connect the 8 with money, finances, abundance, prosperity, business, finances, the law. It can have legal themes to it. And the LORE, the law of the land, cultural law, original indigenous law, First Nations law. And I also associate the 8 with power and energy. So when the 1 and the 8 come together, so someone who's in an 8 personal year and a 1 universal year, this is where in your personal experience you might be being initiated or invited to step more into self, which is the 1, empowerment, which is the 8, and M is when we're embodying our empowerment, to be empowered. So that is a very 1-8 connection. It can also be a year to be taking self-responsibility, which is the 1 for our finances. It can also be an entrepreneurial combination, because the 1 and the 8 can be about being completely responsible for our finances and how we make money. But also the 8 is associated with business. So the 1 and the 8 can be about how we are leaders within a business and how we might be way showing and guiding within a business. And the 8 is about energy mastery. So, some people, the shadow of the 8 is misuse of energy to control or manipulate others. And we all know about that. And many people associate that with the patriarchy and a lot of the shadow aspects and elements of what we're experiencing on planet Earth. But people that are embodying the mastery of the 8 is how we master our energy and how we direct that energy to amplify things, to energize things. And this is how some people use money to, energize a business or to express our gratitude as an exchange for a product or a service. The 8 is also about conditional exchange. The 9 is unconditional, but again, the 8 is about valuing something or someone, a product or a service, and exchanging money for that. So what we're experiencing now is the 9, because I am giving and gifting this knowledge, wisdom, information, this class unconditionally. That's the 9. And the 8 is where it is conditional. So that's where I have people, the readings that people pay for, the Zoom classes that people pay for, the courses that people pay for, where I put a value on that. So again, the 1 and the 8 can be about self-worth, valuing of self. So these are some of the ways that the 8 can be playing out, and the themes of the 8 associated with a 1 personal year. So what does Pei Ling say? It's been a very big week already for bookings in my nonprofit work. Lots of new and growing partnerships for the financial wellness education program that I lead. Amazing, 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 amazing. Here we go. Sylvia, my finances have picked up as well. Yeah, the 8 has the potential to be a harvest year. It has the potential to be very, very abundant. And the higher our level of self-worth, the more we value ourselves, the greater the amount of abundance we can open ourselves up to in an 8 personal year. So yeah, that's great. Pei Ling, very expansive, trusting that we will be supported with the resources, staff, volunteers, funding to deliver well on the increased demand opportunities for service. Amazing. And again, you use that word resources, because again, the 8, it can be associated with financial abundance, but it can be associated with abundance in any kind of way in relation to resources. So yeah, that's great that you use that word, Pei Ling. And because it's a 1 month, many seeds planted, opportunities initiated for what's to come through October. Amazing, 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 amazing. That's great. That's really, really great. So let's see who's next whilst we're here. Daria. So Daria's birthday is the 28th of November. So does anyone want to do the maths on what Daria's personal year is. So to calculate her personal year, we're going to add the 2 and the 8, which gives us 10, and then we're going to add it to the 11, or we can add the 1 and the 1. So 10 plus 1 is 11, and 11 plus 1 is 12. And then we add that to the universal year, which is a 1. So 12 plus 1 is 13. 1 plus 3 is 4. I'm fairly sure, mental arithmetic wise, that is correct. And the other way you can do it is 2 plus 8 is 10. And then you can add 11 to 10, which is 21. And then you can add the 1 universal year to 21, which is 22. So either way, there are the themes of the 4 and, the 22 playing out for you, Daria. So there's so much that could be shared about those themes. But I spoke about the 4 in relation to this universal month in March. And the 4 themes are very practical and earthly and grounded. They're quite Taurian. They're a bit Capricornian. They're a bit Virgo. They're about having our ducks in a row. It's a very, very grounded, practical frequency, though. And it is about taking action. It's about having healthy boundaries. And in the context of the 22 is a dream weaving frequency. It's a flying unicorn. Anything is possible frequency. But also the 22-4 and the mastery of the 22-4. I'm a 22-4 life path, so I know these themes very well. It's about how we can maintain healthy boundaries, which is the 4, within all of our relationships, partnerships, friendships, connections, which is the 22. And then also multidimensionally, which is the 22 master number frequency. So, you'll be being invited to, master peace, calm, and balance within all of your friendships, relationships, partnerships. The importance of having healthy boundaries in relation to this 1 universal year of being able to put yourself first. So you might be being tested. Your boundaries might be being tested, and you might be being shown relationships that you have where things are out of balance, where you might be abandoning yourself or not putting yourself first throughout this year. And the 4 is about boundaries and taking action. And again, within the 2 and the 22, the importance of creating more balance, so that you're not abandoning yourself, if that makes sense, within all of that. So I hope that's helpful, Daria. Let's just see. There's lots of other comments coming through. Let's see. There's Glow, my beautiful dear friend Glow. Good to see you're activating lives on YouTube. Glow is a 1 expression. So this is where Glow's gifts, talents, and abilities lie. Let's see. Here we go. Glow is saying, Jessica, Talina Mahatma, I'm in a 4-year 2. Yes, I was literally thinking about you as I was sharing that information for Daria. So Glow, peace, calm, balance, harmonious boundaries in the collective year 1 is in a 4-year. Thank you for this. My pleasure. There's Daria. Interesting. Working on healthy boundaries and putting self first, which is difficult for me. My pleasure, Daria. So I've got time for just a few more. Let's just see. Okay, yeah. So there's Jessica. Jessica's in a 4-year. So hopefully what I just shared for Daria is going to be helpful for you. And obviously also for Glow. And then we've got Patricia. So here we are, Patricia, 9 personal year in a universal 1. So I was speaking about this literally just recently with a dear friend of mine in the UK who's in a 9 personal year. Pamela, if you're watching the replay or recording, I know that she's probably asleep right now. All of our UK and European friends are asleep. It's not the best time for them, but all of our Australian, New Zealand, and North American friends, I know this is a good time for you guys. So what does this mean for you, Patricia? So this is going to feel like a little bit of a schizophrenic year, because the 9 and the 1 are kind of juxtaposed in some ways. From a linear perspective, we have the 1 here, the 9 here. But then if we put all the numbers in a circle or on a clock face, we've got the 1 here and the 9 here, and they sit right next to each other. And they're quite a powerful combination. I feel like they're quite powerful friends. So my friend Nikki, she lives in Oregon, and in her birth blueprint, she just has 9s and 1s. And she's been in quite a lot of my Zoom classes recently, and we've been talking about the 1 and the 9 quite a lot. We were talking about it at the end of last year and the beginning of this year. So again, the themes of the 9, and anyone who is watching who's in a 9 personal year, and again, this is true for these 9 themes for all of us that are overlapping for these first 6 months. The main themes of the 9 are associated with death, not physical death. It might be death of a thought, a habit, a belief, a behavior, a place, a space, a job, a relationship, a way of living, a way of being, a way of thinking. It can be any kind of death. It can be physical death. But the 9 is death, endings, closure, completion, tying things up. The 9 can also be associated with trauma, tragedy, emergencies, being in a state of emergency. It can be natural disasters or emergencies. Now, it's not to say that anyone in a 9 personal year is meant to experience all those things. But what the 9 can do is it can unearth things. It's about going down. It's about going down into the depths, the underworld, the underground. And it's also about going back into the past. And in a 9 year, sometimes things will be floating up to the surface from the past, either in this lifetime or previous lifetimes, for things to be healed, and especially for us to give to ourselves when the 1 is present, or for us to receive from others unconditional love, kindness, compassion, empathy, all themes that are connected to the 9. The 9 is associated with forgiveness. It's associated with gratitude. It's associated with unconditional giving and receiving and gifting. It is about rewards. It is a frequency of alchemy. These are all themes that are going to be playing out throughout the whole year for you, Patricia. It can be a detoxification or a purging frequency. It can be associated with compost, shit, quite literally, like crap, that which we excrete, that which we release, but that has nutrients in it and that is valuable, beyond the 8. It's the compost that we put on our garden that helps the 1, that helps the seeds. From a gardening metaphor, the 9 is the compost and the mulch and all the things that have died and gone into the earth to put nutrients into it because they've decomposed, to prepare after the 8, which is the harvest. The 9 is that preparation for the 1, the seed planting. So as a planet, we're all experiencing that 1, and you're going to be experiencing that within the collective, but your 9 personal year is going to be a year of personal releasing or purging or letting go, because the more we embrace the 9, the more we lean in, the more space it creates for the 1. So all the letting go that you go through this year, Patricia, is going to create space for your 1 personal year next year. And again, you're actually going to be being uplifted by the 1 energies of the planet. And again, the 1 is a new earth frequency. The 1 are the sovereign seeds of the new earth, the authentic sovereign seeds of the new earth. And from an alchemical perspective, the 9 is like the gold from the lead, the pearl from the grain of sand, the piece of coal that turns into the diamond. The 9 are the rewards that we receive from, experiencing adversity, the rewards that we receive from all the really tough stuff that we might have gone through, which is the nine, the shadow of the nine, the pain, the suffering. And so again, I always say to people that have nines in their blueprint or in a nine personal year, the nine is associated with karma. Now, a lot of people, sometimes karma gets a bad rap and people focus on the negative karma or the bad karma and the whole what goes around comes around. But it's true for the positive. My 3 expression over here, waving the positive flag, so this has the potential to be an amazing year for opening yourself to receiving karmic credit that might be due to you for unconditional love or kindness or things that you've offered to people unconditionally out of the goodness of your heart. Like I remember when my previous partner Jared and I were traveling around the country in his van. We went to visit Patricia, and she made us a veganic meal. It was all organic and vegan, and it was and Patricia's not completely organic vegan, and it was so beautiful and so kind, and that's the 9 in action. And so this is a great year for you to open yourself up for receiving unconditionally, like even in terms of like what's happening right now. I'm giving and gifting and sharing this information unconditionally. So any of you that are in a 9 personal year, a wonderful year to be cashing in or receiving or opening yourself up and feeling worthy of receiving your karmic credit from this lifetime or previous lifetimes, unconditionally, without expectation. Because I know that you have an 8 somewhere. I can't remember. I think you're in 11 life path, but you've got an 8 somewhere. So the 8 is conditional, but the 9 is an even more advanced frequency. And the 9 exists between the 8 and the 11. So it's a very high level of mastery. And the final thing to share about the 9, which again, not a lot of numerologists talk about, is celebration. The 9 is a frequency of celebration. It's also associated with all of humanity, our big human family, and the unconditional love for all humans, regardless of what we look like, what our skin color is, what language we speak, the fact that we're just one big human family. The 9 is connected to all creatures, great and small, and also nature. So the 9 is a frequency for celebration and celebrating the diversity of humanity and being part of this big human family, the gift of being human and life on earth, the gift of all these beautiful, amazing creatures, great and small. I associate the 9 with veganism, and it's a very vegan frequency. And yeah, the celebration of nature. And also creativity with nature. The 9 is a very creative frequency, but it's like how we can create with nature or create with death or celebrate death or celebrate endings, the same way that we have a funeral or a wake or a celebration of life or a, end of work party, or, there's so many ways that we can, celebrate with the 9. And the 9 is also, it's about anniversaries. So when the 1 and the 9 come together, that is like the celebration of birth, because the 1 is associated with birth. Again, the 9 and the 9 is celebration of death. But when the 9 comes together with other numbers, it can be the celebration of anything. The 9 and the 3 could be celebration of words and creativity. The 9 and the 6 could be celebration of family. The 9 and the 8 could be celebration of business and money. So again, the 9 is this celebratory frequency, which a lot of numerologists don't talk about and don't connect with the 9. So I hope that's helpful for you, Patricia. So we're getting to about the 1 hour and a half mark. So I'm just going to see what other comments there are before we close things up for today. It's been very lovely to see you all. There we go. There's Sylvia. My pleasure. That was Jessica with me sharing about the 4. That was Patricia as an 11. Yeah, well, what I would say is, embrace the 9. Anything that's letting go of you, anything that might be stopping you from embracing the magic of the 11, like, your multidimensional gifts, your psychic gifts, your clairvoyant gifts, I know you're so connected, but it feels like, there might be more for you to kind of expand into. And also letting go of anything that might be stopping you from putting yourself first, and anything that might be letting go of anything that might be causing enmeshment with others and self-abandonment, because the shadow of the 1 is self-abandonment, and the shadow of the 11 is enmeshment and self-abandonment in order to keep the peace or not be abandoned within a relationship. So I hope that that is helpful in relation to your 11 life path. Glow was saying, wow, so many 4s here. So there we go. Glow, I'm on my way to the airport this morning, Catherine Kinney, grounding at Envision Festival for the next 3 weeks in Costa Rica. For anyone that doesn't know, Glow has 3 5s in her blueprint. There are not many people I've come across that have 3 5s. She's probably only one of 2 or 3 people. My other friend that has 3 5s, she has her partner and her 3 children, and they've just sold their house or in the process of selling their house to just live on the road. They've got twins and they've got a little one, and I think they're all under 4 or 5. Glow, curious to know how my 4 will affect that. Did the 9 already end, or is it on Feb 17? So the wood snake, the yin wood snake Chinese year will close on February 17th and we'll start the yang fire horse. But the 9 for the planet is going to be overlapping with the 1 till the end of June. And what I would say is, your 4 and Envision Festival in Costa Rica, the 4, festivals can be interesting. They can test our boundaries. And, it can be easy to be grounded if our bum's on the ground and we're really connected to the earth. But, there's lots of mind-altering things and experiences that happen at festivals. So the 4 will probably continually be giving you opportunities to ground, practice healthy boundaries, stay focused. The 4 is about focus. I'm a 22-4 life path and I have no 5. So whenever I used to go to festivals, especially in my 20s before I had my awakening, I'd have a plan or I'd have, specific things that I wanted to make sure that I went to on every day so that I didn't miss them. The 5 can be very carefree and very, very go with the flow. So maybe just see how that flavor of the 4, comes in to dance with your Envision Festival experience in Costa Rica. Glow, I hope that's helpful. These are great questions. There's Patricia. Oh, you're welcome anytime. Thank you, darling. Oh my God, it was so lovely. And it was so special because Patricia showed me like all her amazing art. She gifted me art. It was really amazing. It was really, really, really beautiful. Thank you. So that's Patricia. Great. Amazing. There's Glow. Okay, great. That's helpful. So we're approaching the 1.5 hour mark. I feel I'm going to kind of close things up here for today. I definitely feel like I'm at capacity. I feel like you guys probably are as well. This has been fun. My 3 expression is happy. This has been super fun. It feels like this has been a successful experiment. And yeah, my intention is to host these around the beginning of every month as a monthly forecast, as my unconditional gift to you all. I'm super grateful for those of you that have shown up and that have joined me live through Facebook. I don't know if there's anyone watching on LinkedIn, but YouTube as well. I've been wanting to do this for quite a while. I've had a lot of resistance to sharing things through YouTube, but I have popped that cherry and I have stepped outside of that comfort zone. And thanks for your kind words, Glow, of support. And thanks to everyone, who's watching on the live right now, who's been watching from the beginning of this class, who's joined me for the whole class. I'm super grateful. It is my joy and my honor and my privilege and my service to talk about numbers. For some reason in this lifetime, it brings me a phenomenal amount of joy. It feels like it's a past life thing as well. For any of you watching that do want to know more about me and my offerings and what I do, just go to my website, which is kosmicnumerology.com, cosmic with a K. And of course, if you're watching me on Facebook, you probably know of me, but you can find my Cosmic Numerology page on Facebook. I have one on Instagram as well. My channel on YouTube, if you're already watching, you know about it. But if you don't, it's Catherine Kinney, Catherine with a K and 2 A's. If you want to book a reading, please feel free to send me a private message. If you want to access any of the recorded Zoom classes, pay to access a class, also feel free to send me a private message. If you have any questions at all, feel free to send me a message. If you've got any requests or suggestions for future classes, feel free to send me a message. I'm all ears. I'm in service to you guys. This is always a co-creation. And I'm always happy and grateful for everyone that shows up and everything that you share, like all of your questions, everything that you share personally about how you're journeying with the numbers. It means a lot to me. Daria, thank you, beautiful Catherine, as always. I'm very grateful. Thank you also to the lovely people joining in this morning too. Even though I don't know you, I'm super grateful to be joining with you. Yay! I love bringing people together. It's so awesome. And it's my intention to start hosting Cosmic Numerology weekly classes in person here in South Golden as well for people that live locally. So I feel that's everything. If you have enjoyed this, please feel free to like it, comment, share. If you're watching on YouTube, please feel free to follow me or sign up for notifications. I know that those things have a really positive effect on the algorithms. And I am going to be sharing a lot more, obviously, through YouTube by sharing these Facebook Lives there as well through StreamYard. And I think that's it. I hope you all have an amazing February or rest of February. I hope you have an amazing eclipse portal. I hope you have an amazing Chinese New Year on the 17th. And I look forward to seeing any and all of you sometime soon back here again in a Zoom class, in a reading, in my inbox, in any which way, shape, or form. So I'm sending you all so much love from the Byron Shire, and I will close this as I close all of my live transmissions. As always, feel free to keep your hearts open, keep choosing love, keep being love, keep spreading the love, keep dancing with the numbers. There's Melinda just catching now. I'll have to rewatch. Sending you so much love. Lovely to see you. And I look forward to seeing you all soon. I'll catch you in the slipstream online. Have a beautiful day. Lots of love, beautiful ones, and blessings. Bye. Mwah.